I see the blue for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
So I was going to talk to you today about the transition from maternity leave to working. Now, I suppose the first thing to say is, let's be real, this isn't going to be easy. It's going to be a lot harder for you, though, than it is for your child. So rest assured, they cope, they get through it. I've been back at work now 5 months. My children couldn't give a hoot whether I'm there or not. They actively tell me how much they love their nanny. So for me, that's perfect. I used to be jealous of it, and that is something to be cognizant of for all those new mums out there. But at the end of the day, having someone who loves your child and that will look after them when you're not there, it's much better for them to not miss you than to be pining for you all day. So I suppose then we get through to part-time or full-time. There's pros and cons of both. Unfortunately, it's still very hard to have a proper career if you work part-time. Your colleagues assume you have days off, and that you've got but really what it is you cram 5 days work into however many days that you're actually working. And that's even if you're allowed it. I asked once after my first child and was refused, and never asked again, largely because I actually love my work, but also because once I'd gotten used to it, it actually wasn't as bad as I anticipated. So rest assured, part-time, full-time, you will get through it. Childcare is probably the hardest thing to think about. I've done the nursery route, and I've done the childminder route, and I've done the nannying route. The first nursery was with my first 2 children, great for socialisation and routine, but I did worry there wasn't enough love. You know, the lined up baby cots look like a mini baby prison, can do, but it worked really well for my eldest 2 children. So it's nothing to be said for against nurseries. For certain children it works really well, and I suppose when you've only got 1 or 2 it works perfectly. If you've got any more than 2 children, it can be very expensive, and also different children being at different places, so 2 being at school and 1 being at nursery, or vice versa, it means it's a logistical nightmare picking them up. Also, there's quite a few penalties if you're late to collect, which you don't get always with a nanny or a childminder. Childminder, let's go through that one. That was great. In a home environment, they loved her. It was a pain having to get them there for a certain time, and paying for childcare over 3 children. I think a childminder becomes too expensive. So when I got 3 children, I went for the nannying route. Nanny works out, I think, the best if you have 4 or more children. I've had the most amazing nannies who I'm now call brilliant friends. One is even the godparent to Abe. You set the times, you set the boundaries. You don't know if they're good though until they start, but I've been really blessed, although there are horror stories. So, you know, through all of these, it's each according to their own. I'm not going to dictate what you should do, but I'm just giving you my opinions on the good and bad of all 3, sorry. It's a pain sorting out their tax and national insurance. There is a nanny wages company that sort these things out for you, but it does add to the costs. You have to worry about insurance and things like that. And when you're not around, the nanny rules. So if you come back and the nanny's still there, her rules dictate. I try never ever to overrule the nanny, because then that makes her powerless. It renders her completely powerless. And when the children come in, they said to me, they say, oh, she's made me do this, or she's made me do that. And if I don't stick up for them, then it's pointless her being here, because it renders them powerless. I suppose the next thing that I should probably talk about is what I worried about is forgetting or relearning skills. Don't panic. They come back. It's like riding a bike. You remember Excel, Word, all those things that you worry about that you've forgotten. Once you start using them again, even if they've been updated, they're relatively similar, so don't panic. Planning when you go back to work is the key. Give yourself enough time, work out your route. work out your childcare. Do it for a few weeks. I would suggest 3 to 4 weeks before you start your job. You should be getting your child weaned into wherever they're going, be it a childminder, nanny or nursery. You should be getting them used to it. Use this as an ideal time to take some time to yourself. Let the nanny cope. Don't smother her. Let her get on with it. She will much prefer it to you being around. And same with nursery. Don't keep ringing up. Just let them get on with it. They'll ring you. These are childcare professionals. They know what they're doing much more than me. I've learned through all of my nannies way more than I would have done had I been on my own. They give you tips. They help you. And in the nursery, they help you get them into routine. It's not always a bad thing. So don't always view it as such. These people can add so much to your children's lives. Don't feel guilty. I say that the whole of parenthood is a guilt trip, but this is one thing. You are providing them with the ability to know that they can have a family and have a career, and that to me is immeasurable. And particularly when you're raising girls, it's so important to know that they can do both. I don't want my children to, my girls in particular, to think about, oh, I've got to marry the CEO. I want them to be the CEO. I want them to have the opportunities to do whatever they want with however many children they want. Life is for the taking, so let's hope they can take it. Enjoy the return to work. It will be amazing. You will feel like yourself again. You will feel like not just someone's mum. You will feel like a human being, which perhaps you haven't done for a while. I certainly had felt a bit low before going back to work, and it was, for me, it gave me the lease of life that I needed. They say that life begins at the end of your comfort zone, and I think that I've got my life back through going back to work each time. I'm a better parent for it too, and they get a lot more from me because I don't spend so much time with them. So the time that I do spend, I really enjoy. Enjoy it. Take care.
And I'd give up forever to touch